What's going on, guys? Welcome to We Got a Problem. So the BBC comedian Jo Brand appeared on the BBC4 radio show Heresy, making jokes about throwing battery acid on politicians she does not like. It must mean Nigel Farage and other brexiteers would likely be the targets, of course. Now, as some of you may remember, it wasn't long ago that Victoria Derbyshire was trying to smear the UKIP MEP and YouTuber Sargon of Akkad because he made a joke about not raping the snivelling shitweasel that is Jess Phillips. Let's take a quick look at the clip to refresh our memories.
Last week, we revealed that the police were investigating whether a UKIP candidate in the forthcoming European elections committed an offence when he said this about the Labour MP Jess Phillips in a video now taken down by YouTube. There's been an awful lot of talk about whether I would or would not even rape Jess Phillips. I've been in a lot of trouble for my hardline stance of not even raping her. I suppose with enough pressure, I might cave. But let's be honest, nobody's got that much beer. The Labour MP told us about the impact that those comments had on her.
I'd been putting a brave face on it and pretending that it was all fine and that I could cope. And it sort of dawned on me that for 4 years, essentially, this man has made a career out of harassing me, and I felt harassed. I felt like, how can somebody say that they would rape me if forced and be a legitimate candidate in an election?
The video was made by Carl Benjamin, who's standing as a UKIP candidate for the South West in next week's European parliamentary elections. We asked him onto our programme to respond to the interview Jess Phillips gave us. Ahead of those elections, you might remember earlier this week, we invited all the parties fielding candidates: Conservatives, UKIP, Labour, the Lib Dems, the Brexit Party, SNP, Plaid Cymru, Change UK and the Green Party onto the show to discuss their policies, which they did. This interview with Mr Benjamin is not about UKIP policies. Thank you very much for talking to us. We invited you on after we interviewed, as you know, the Labour MP Jess Phillips last week. I want to ask you, why did you decide to choose rape when talking about Jess Phillips?
I'm interested in why you're deliberately misrepresenting what's happened. Have you seen the video in question?
Of course, yes.
Right, and how would you describe that video?
Why did you decide to choose rape?
It's very important because you've been lying about me and I've been attacked in the street because of your lies. So this is genuinely important.
I've never lied about you, and you're here today.
A lie by omission is still a lie, and in your last segment about me with Jess Phillips, you did not mention that this was a comedy video.
Talk us through that thought process. Why rape?
It's a joke at your expense.
You could have chosen any number of things.
I did, and if you could describe the video, it was a 4-minute blooper reel video of comedy.
A feminist approach, but you chose rape, and I'm really interested to find out why.
It's honestly part of a long meta joke about the way that the media is bullying Jess Phillips with jokes I made that she never saw.
Why rape, though?
I've just explained it to you. It's a joke about you. It's not a joke about her.
Why did you choose that subject with all the violence and intimidation?
That's the subject that Jess Phillips brings
and degradation
up.
that involves.
Jess Phillips brings this up all the time. I mean, do you know the context of the original tweet that, again, she didn't see you guys put in her face? Do you know that?
Of course. What kind of an individual makes light of sexual violence and attaches a woman's name to it?
Again, someone who's telling a joke, but this is the point I'm trying to make. You are misrepresenting what has happened.
So the BBC are against offensive jokes. That is, except when it's one of their own staff doing it. Then it's fine. Let's listen to what Joe the Snivelling Toad had to say on the Radio 4 show.
Would you not say, Joe, we are absolutely united in feeling we are living through a terrible time from a parliamentary point of view?
Well, yes, I would say that, but I think that's because certain unpleasant characters are being thrown to the fore, and they're very, very easy to hate. And I'm kind of thinking, why bother with a milkshake when you could get some battery acid? That's just me, and it's all right. I'm not going to do it. It's purely a fantasy, but I think milkshakes are pathetic. I honestly do. Sorry.
Now, before I start and any rabid leftists go mad in the comments, I know this is a joke and should not be taken seriously, but I have to call out the absolute hypocrisy from the BBC here. They did their best to smear Sargon of Akkad, as I said earlier, for what they deemed was an offensive joke. But now we have Jo Brand joking about acid attacks on politicians. I don't see the difference between that and what Sargon of Akkad said. But the BBC seems to think her joke is okay. Which also goes back to the Frankie Boyle joke about the TV star Katie Price, where he said she needed to marry an MMA fighter to stop her severely disabled son Harvey from fucking her. That's okay apparently, according to the BBC. He has his own show on the BBC currently. But no, because he's a leftist commie, he can say what he wants. When it comes to anyone they don't agree with, like Sargon of Akkad, Nigel Farage, I mean, why do you think he's being so careful now with what he says? He's being very politically correct, Nigel Farage. There's a reason, because he knows they will smear him. Their jokes or anything they say can be taken out of context, and the BBC staff will sign open letters like they did with Sargon of Akkad to have him banned from running from public office. The BBC are some of the scummiest hypocrites in the world, and they are really, really, really going for it this week with the amount of things they've been up to already. It's only Wednesday and I could already label 5 or 6 different things they could do. I've got a couple of videos coming on some of it, but I had to stop because I see this. Now that's going to be the end of the video. I just wanted to highlight some more hypocrisy from the Biased Broadcasting Corporation. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section as always. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share as it helps the channel a lot. And I'll see you all in the next video.